All right, here we go. Yes, we're live and direct at the LA Record Fair with my boy, one of the main staples of LA hip hop underground, Shownuff of Diggin daily. What's good with you, homeboy?
Good, homie, just good right
Man,
here. Thank you very much for coming through.
We're on the street, they say you can be rocking today.
That's a word on the street. I don't know how good the streets are, but I might be.
Well, I'm missing freestyle session, so I'm expecting to bust some moves
There you go.
to your set.
You might be surprised. You might be surprised what I play. You might be surprised.
Now check this out, my boy. One thing that we like talking about is the origins of hip hop.
Word, all right.
We want to learn a little bit more of your foundation. How you got into hip hop?
To be 100% honest with you, I got into the foundation of it through my brothers. My brothers were all like DJs.
That's what's up.
When I was younger, they were older than me, so I was the youngest in the family. They used to have their turntables set up inside the room. I would watch them, see them when they would practice, and as soon as they left, I was like, all right, I see how they turn it on. I see they had their records in order. So I'd be like, fuck it. I would jump on when they were gone, learn how to turn on the auxiliary, the turntables, and then I started fucking with it. And then that's my introduction to like wanting to like learn music, fuck with music.
Did you get in trouble for scratching the shit on the table?
Well, no, because what I did was I didn't try like scratching or nothing.
Yeah.
I was just like trying to learn how to put the record on, how to drop the needle, play it, and then I just fucked around with it like that. Little by little, I started listening to when they would mix. I'm like, oh, that doesn't sound right, and then I would just add little tweaks, like trying to figure it out. And then that was pretty much how I got into DJing.
And what year are we talking about?
This is like 94, 93, around that year. Yeah, I was young at that age, so I was like I was still in elementary school. So I was like 6th, 7th grade.
Oh, nice.
And then I don't know what it was that attracted me to it, but like I don't know, just.
Was the saying your brothers just getting busy on the tables, or was it the music?
It was both. So my brothers, it was crazy because I had a brother that was into like oldies, that would bump oldies. And I had another brother when he was going to college. He got into more like the Too Shorts, got into like Wu-Tang, got into like other like underground hip hop, and I was like, oh shit. So hearing that, and then hearing my brother at the time, my other brother who was like into like more commercial, he was like doing more like house parties. I would hear all three like genres or all three different like music, and I was just like, oh shit, this is dope. So I kind of pulled from all three of them and then created my own little style.
And do you remember the artists, some of the records that get your attention?
So some of them like Africa Bambaataa, like hearing that, Soul Sonic
Planet Rock?
Yeah, Planet Rock. I was into that, like, oh shit. Damn, I'm trying to think like there was Chubb Rock. So like the early 90s, so like Chubb Rock, there was some of that easy was it Raw Bass? Trying to think, It Takes Two, yeah. And then what really got my attention was my oldest brother was into the Miami Bass Wars.
Ooh.
So they would have some of those records, and then the Miami Bass Wars is serving like that heavy bass, the mix-ups, the tune-ups, and I was like, oh shit. Like just hearing that and having all that influence, the variety was just there.
What's crazy is that, believe it or not, the whole Miami bass was actually a huge part of hip-hop.
Yeah, it was. It
don't really get talk about.
Well, the thing that's crazy about that is that the Miami Bass Wars, not a lot of people had a lot of that on vinyl. A lot of it was like easy accessible on tape. So my brothers had vinyl and they had tapes. So I was listening to it on tapes and hearing some shit from like back in the day that was on a tape that you could tell was on a tape because it was like hissing. Yeah. It was like you hear like that little audio that goes over because it was like a shitty recording. But hearing that and then hearing some of the records that they had with like Two Live Crew and a bunch of other shit, I was just like, damn. So hearing all that was like kind of like what really got me because it was up tempo. Yeah. It was like I've always been into like melodies. Big fan of East Coast hip hop just because of the melodies they put inside with the boom bap and the heavy hits. It just got me into that. And then the transition to like West Coast hip hop in the 90s with Dr. Dre and that whole California funk hip hop movement, like it just drew me like more attached to it. That really got me into it.
And do you remember the first record you ever bought?
First record I ever bought. So I was a commercial DJ. I wanted to get into like the commercial scene. I wanted to be like at the time Power 106, The Beat. I wanted to be one of those DJs. So in that era, I started buying. So I want to say that my first record was like a compilation record. I got it at World Records. Mixel, rest in peace.
Wow, World Records. I heard that record. Yeah. Longest. Woo.
Yeah, Mixel, rest in peace. When I first went in there, Mixel was behind the tables and he was right there in Alhambra. And I walked in. I'm like, yeah, man, I've been DJing, but I never really bought records. I kind of want to know. And Mixel like came from behind and started talking to me. It's like, oh, well, you got to listen to this, and this. Yeah. So I started buying records, and then he also would be like, oh, well, this is for a certain DJ, but fuck him. Whatever you want to buy, here, bro, I'll hook you up. So I want to say the first records I got were all jiggy shit, like in the late 90s, like early 90s, so like Big Pun. I got that, probably my first purchase. I don't want to be a player. That was like my first purchase that I got.
So we're talking about 98?
Like 98, 97, yeah. I used to wash cars. I used to wash all of my brother's homies' cars.
Oh,
for $5. So I wanted to make money because I wanted to get vinyl. So literally, I grew up in the projects. All the homies would fucking have their cars lined up in the projects. I wash all their cars, make, you know, good like maybe 40, 50 bucks. Got some tips, and I was like, fuck it. Walk to the record store and get like fucking with $80 and would just go ham out. And I was doing that like almost every other weekend, so I could fucking get my inventory like going.
Now, do you miss the days of carrying the crates? Or you're happy that you got this digital stuff?
So now what I'm gonna say is that if you're gonna be a DJ, it is very like instrumental that you start and you respect the culture and you start with vinyl. Because that's the essence, and that's, you gotta pay homage to how it started. Yeah, you gotta learn. And because Serato, and I'm not gonna diss Serato, because Serato, I'm very Serato heavy now. It makes it easier because I don't gotta carry all that equipment. But you know, there's something with like having to buy your vinyl, carry your vinyl, show up to an event with like multiple crates, and be like, I'm gonna play to this audience and then mix it up for that audience, and just being able to like really rock a crowd. That's like something that cats really need to understand. I think nowadays everything's just too easy. It's too accessible. Everyone, oh, if you have money, you could do it. And I think in that essence, you lose a lot of the culture. And I think if you really want to be like, you really want to like have that foundation set up, you want to take your craft seriously, you got to start from the bottom and work your way up.
You know what's dope? That we have a lot of these record shops opening nowadays.
Yeah.
I'm glad that we have them, because I remember, you know, when you go to the record shop, it's just something about going, just digging, then shopping it out with people.
That's the beauty, because there's been times, Aaron Records, rest in peace.
Aaron Records.
In Hollywood, I used to go there, and you know, they had their high-end selection. They had their used section, where you can go and just digging through there and seeing vinyl and just be like, oh my God, I can't believe somebody turned this in, or they passed up on this, or they're just trying to liquidate inventory. You come up and you find a lot of rare gems like that. And I think the art of digging, it's an art of digging. I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm a professional at digging. I know when I go out, I know what I'm looking for. I kind of already know what I want. But as the more you get into this culture and the more you want to dig, you definitely gotta really appreciate like finding like those soul, those funk, those oldies, like just the foundation of where the music is sampled from, or just the foundation of just what the culture is. That digging just, again, like you said, there's nothing like running your fingers through some records. Oh,
find a goodie, find a gem.
Getting a big old stack and be like, all right, this is a big stack. I don't have enough money for all this, but then like really determining what you're gonna get. There's an essence in that, and like.
So we're talking about, you're about to have 30 years under your belt from DJing?
More or less, yeah.
Ooh, wow.
I never want to say that I'm the best at what I do. I'm pretty good at what I do, but I do want to say that the culture, it definitely kept me out of trouble. Definitely kept me wanting to aspire to be more, because as you sit here and you hear other DJs going on and you hear what they play, it inspires me as a DJ to want to like interact and see what they're playing and say like, oh, is this something from their set that I should get? And just, you know, the influence. If you're a DJ, you're influenced by everything. You can't be influenced by just one thing. So hearing people and like seeing what they do, like especially when it comes to vinyl, you gotta appreciate those small things.
Now, if you can remember, can you remember the first party you rocked?
First party I rocked was in high school. It was funny because I did like a kind of like an underground set. So I did like some Redman, I had some Wu-Tang. Nice. I threw on some Akanali. It was just a weird set that I put together. I wasn't even like really mixing and blending. I was more like just cutting, let the record play, stop it, zoom, and then like throw the next one in. But the party was rocking because everyone was, you know, we're in high school, we're drinking, we're smoking, we're partying. And in that instance, like it felt good. Like, oh shit, like I'm amongst my peers and I'm DJing and like I'm not playing like the commercially known music. I'm digging a little bit.
But that's when you feel like, this is me right here. It's on me all day.
That's why I was like, like, all right, like what I'm doing, like, you know, because people will get to one staple and only want to do like one thing, but trying to do a variety and like having people see and like, getting their reactions. As a DJ, there's no better feeling than like knowing you rock the crowd.
I know that feeling.
So for me, that was the first time that I rocked the crowd, and I was like, yeah, hell yeah. So that was the first time, high school. It was a high school backyard party.
You said it was Redman, Wu-Tang, and
Redman, Wu-Tang. I'm trying to remember. I had some Nas in there. I did a little bit of commercial shit as well, through some Jay-Z.
What was your favorite record to really rock the party? What was your record to go to?
It depends, bro, because you gotta, as a DJ, you gotta feel the vibe. So you can't just sit here and be like, oh, this song's gonna rock this. You gotta pay attention to like what the crowd is doing and what they're reacting to. So you gotta kind of have a variety set up, so that way it's not so much one track. It's pretty much. I don't live track by track. I live set by set. Okay. So your set, you gotta have a nice set put together that's gonna really like rock the crowd and keep them going, because you don't want someone dancing to just one song and then your next 5 songs are garbage. So you gotta really pay attention to what the audience is doing or what your crowd is doing, so that way you maintain that tempo.
Now, when you go record shopping, did you have a particular style in mind? this is what I'm going for, or it was just like
It was just all over the place, I knew for sure, like, if I knew I was doing like a more commercial set, I got my commercial staples, but then I always try to add a little bit of variety inside of it, just so that way I can mix it up, just so that way, you know, like I said, as a DJ, we have to invigorate the crowd. We got to keep them involved, and a lot of times you'll be surprised at what you could play that is not a mainstream song that will grab people's attention, that'll keep them dancing, and then that's how people, when they hear it, they're like, oh shit, I want, like, what was that you played? To me, that's the biggest compliment. When someone, like, who is that? What are you playing? And, oh, this is so-and-so, and then hopefully they go out and they buy that album. Because, you know, we're the DJs. We control the crowd. We control what music gets bought, what music doesn't get bought. So as a DJ, you can't really just only stick to what the radio's playing. You got to kind of have like a good variety, so that way when someone hears it and they want to go out and find it, that's how artists get found. That's how artists get known.
Now, you say you were inspired because you saw your brothers?
Yeah.
Now, once you got into DJing, who were like the ones that influenced you to really practice? Like, did you have any heroes? Did you have anybody you looked up to?
So I was DJing. I was still DJing at the time. I was doing clubs, but I went to the 1999 DMC Championship.
Oh, wow.
And it was at the Palace in Hollywood. Dilated performed at that event, but then Revolution was actually holding down the decks. And Revolution was the opening DJ, and then he was also the closing DJ, if I'm not mistaken. But I remember during that set, it's like seeing him double up, seeing him do his tricks, and seeing all that. That's what got me, like, that was like, for me, that was the staple. Like, I want to be like Revolution. I want to be like that cat. And for me, that was my hero. And then as you start going down that tunnel or that rabbit hole of DJing, Qbert, I saw Qbert live at a rave in Los Angeles. I think it was called Urban Phenomenon. I saw him perform, and I was just like, fuck. And then I saw DJ Spooky, who was totally different fucking DJ set. I saw that, and then that inspired me to be like, damn, this is like, it was more like a techno house experimental. But even then I was like, man, like I want to get into that too. So, you know, you pull aspects from every different DJ as far as what you see and what you experience. But for me, it was always Revolution. I used to stay up late to listen to the Wake Up Show just so I could catch it, all that good shit.
Can you name off the top of the dome five favorite DJs?
So I'm gonna definitely say Revolution, Qbert for scratching, Shortcut. I had a Qbert Shortcut mixtape, and I got into Shortcut. I got into that. As always, you got to pay homage to the West Coast, Los Angeles, Beat Junkies, J-Rock, Babu, Rhythmatic, and then DJ Curse. I had some of the first early tapes of DJ Curse. And I remember talking to Curse, and I remember I was telling them, I'm like, there was a skit that they did where Curse was like, well, I'm Sparky Arbuckle. And I redid the verse that he did with Sparky Arbuckle, and he was like, you remember that shit? I'm like, bro, I played that shit back to back every day. And like, that was like the DJs that inspired me, if I can name those DJs. And then of course, to my brothers. I gotta give props to my brothers.
I got to actually right now.
Hearing them DJing, if it wasn't for them, getting turntables, buying records, or just seeing them playing, I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for them as well.
Man, so before you rock your set, can you give us the history of what the name Shownuff came from?
So Shownuff, I used to be a graffiti writer, and
no way.
And I got into the movie The Last Dragon, and you know, I always thought that, you know, Bruce Leroy was cool, but Shownuff was the fucking shit. You know, he walked into a room, had his little entourage behind him. You know what I'm saying? He said he was the best. Kissed my Converse. You know, am I the baddest, the toughest? The baddest motherfucker low down in this town.
That expresses your attitude.
Yeah, so that's where I got my name from, Shownuff. So yeah.
Now here's the thing though, I've been knowing you for years.
Yeah.
I didn't know you used to write.
I used to write.
How long you been writing?
Well, I'm not gonna sit here and say I was at a caliber where I was like super big or anything like that. I was a little tagger, I fucked around. But in my high school years, I fucked around. Didn't go much further after that. That's when I just really got into DJing, and I ran with the name and just kept it going. So when I was writing, I was Show, and then when I was DJing, I was Shownuff. So yeah. So
you would say that your roots in hip hop originally started with writing, or?
Well, no, my roots in hip hop started with DJing. Got into graffiti, and I just went back to DJing because as a graffiti head, you wanna like everyone to know you on the street, and you know, I wasn't traveling out or doing graffiti that heavily where I could be that known. But I figured, well, if I can't be known like that on the streets with my graffiti, because I wasn't like the best writer, I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna be known as a DJ. So that's where I was like, if everyone's gonna know me, they know me as Shownuff, and then That's how I got into that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, but you're about to rock your set. We're looking forward to your set.
Thank you very much, brother.
And Shownuff, thank you for coming to the LA Record Shop.
No worries. We got to keep things like this alive, man.
Good for the culture.
Things like this keep the culture going, invigorates people. You got your old diggers, your new diggers, you got your collectors, but all of us are important to like the instrumental, like actual growing the element of this.
Present the culture.
So we got to do what we got to do on our part, and big ups to Los Angeles Record Fair, Utmost, Swap Meet, keeping things like this going. You know, I got to appreciate them for allowing Diggin' Daily to be a part of it and be a staple of this event. And hopefully we're still doing this years to come.
We're gonna keep on pushing.
That's it. That's all we got to do.
It's boy Klass 1, and we're out.